think we're back. Yeah, this time my whole PS4 decided to break, so yeah. Nate Clark has been disqualified from the session. When did that happen? I can't see him on track. I don't know what's happened, but our championship second place driver is out of qualifying straight away, and his miserable run of form continues. I'm just getting myself back in the groove, so bear with me. Making sure I have comments open so we can see what's happening. Okay, right. We are back. Ayrton, our championship leader, is on pole position, but his rival, as I've said, disqualified from the session. I'm not sure how that happened. Ace versus Kings has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I wonder if that's the same way that Nate Clark got himself disqualified. We'll have to find out in the chat. I'm just going to switch all of my stuff. Alright, there we go. So, Ayrton is on another lap at the moment. So I'll keep an eye on the championship leader as he comes through Sector 3 now. Goat Masters again. Oh, he spun! He spun! The championship leader! That is a very easy place to spin at. Trust me, I have spun there plenty of times already on this game. Very, very easy to do, especially when you're pushing. So Ayrton will be back again. He's not out of qualifying. He is still in the session. Ayrton DTS on a lap. Speed is on an out lap. All right, on board with the Haas and go where we left off. It's pretty much exactly where we left off. Ted is retired as well at turn 2. But here comes Ayrton DTS down towards this next left-hander. Very tricky to get the car turned all the way around for this left and right. He's got it well though, has Ayrton DTS. I think I'll just call him DTS. We'll go with that. So DTS down towards the next completely reprofiled section of track. Again, this used to be a chicane. It's now a long left-hand turn. And DTS navigates that fairly well. He's looking to improve on his previous best. Zuba's gone as well at turn 3. There's so many retirements already. This track proving very tricky for our drivers. Robinet is purple in Sector 2, so we've got to keep an eye on him as well, as he's on a lap. But Ayrton DTS coming to the line. Actually, we're going to go to Robinet, because Trugster's the next one to get disqualified for the same reason. DTS did improve, only by 1/10.5, but Robinet, who has a purple Sector 2, can he get anywhere near Ayrton's time? Trugster's all the way down to last place thanks to disqualification. Robinet does improve by 4/10, but not enough in the third sector to challenge Ayrton, about 3.5 off in the end. Nate spun after he fully exited the pits. Okay, that's what happened. Thank you, Rick. So, I mean, at least he can take comfort in the fact that he's not the only one who's done that today now. Let's ride on board with Myra in the Alfa Romeo. Could have had a solid podium last week, but spun it and then had a crash with Ayrton. Ayrton couldn't avoid the Alfa Romeo in the final corner in Jeddah. And unfortunately, Myra was worse off and DNF'd from the session. But here to make amends today is Myra. 17.6 in the first sector. That's not bad at all. There's the second sector. 36.1. That is also not bad. It's tough to see because it doesn't tell me everyone's like full sector times. It just tells me how much better they are. So on the first lap, it's not as helpful. But here comes the Alfa Romeo, perfect through there, absolutely perfect. Its speed is now retired from the session on the final corner. Another very easy place to spin. Myra avoids, and Myra into pole position. In fact, a purple final sector. It really was good. I did think those two left-handers were done really well by Myra there. And the Finn beats the championship leader into provisional pole. Ayrton is out on track right now and starting a lap, so we'll see how long that lasts. But Speed was on a lap as well, and was purple through Sector 2, but spins and is out of the session at the last corner. He is going to be gutted by that, and he's probably going to drop a couple more positions by the end of this session as well. Looks like Scott has spun it at turn 2. Everyone's spinning and getting disqualified today, it seems. Absolute nightmare qualifying session. I can only imagine what the race is going to be like. But Ayrton now to this tricky left-right. Very well navigated from the Ferrari, but actually maybe a little bit tentative out of the right-hander. Onto this next DRS straight, and on towards this hairpin where everyone can take very different lines through there. It can be very interesting to see. It says a purple sector 2. My telemetry app says otherwise. We'll see what the real time is as Ayrton comes across the line. That looked very good through there, very smooth from the championship leader. I think this is going to absolutely destroy Myra's time, but no, a mistake at the final corner and at the line as well. And in fact, Ayrton, just those two tiny little mistakes at the final corner have really cost our championship leader, and no improvement in the end from Ayrton. So Myra keeps provisional pole with 5 minutes to go. Amir, our Season 1 champion, is also on a lap in the Mercedes. Never mind, has gone just completely over the corner, decided he wasn't going to make it, and has gone for another lap, maybe another out lap, or maybe he's going to come into the pits this time around. Avi is also on a lap. Thibaut as well is, I believe, a new driver. I don't think I've seen Thibaut before, so best wishes to him on what I think is his debut. I really apologise for that, for all the dogs. The door was just knocked on, so you can imagine what has just happened. Yeah, Avi coming to the end of Sector 2. I'm just trying to see sector times. Avi was 1.5 tenths up through Sector 1. So we'll see how much better he is at the end of Sector 2. Coming up to the sector line now. And it is Avi only 2 tenths faster than his previous time overall. So needs a monstrous final sector here to get himself up to into the top 6. And beat DTS into that position. He should beat Lostock as long as he doesn't completely screw up this final sector. Down to the final corner, right on board. Is he going to hit the apex or make the same mistake that Ayrton did? No, that's perfect at the last corner from Avi. Up to the line, and that's even beaten his teammate. A much better final sector from the Mercedes driver. And into P5 he goes. DTS is on a lap. I'm trying to see who is purple. Amir was purple in Sector 2, but aborted that lap in the end. DTS in Sector 3 now. I don't think he's on a lap, though. No, he is on a lap, actually. I do think he's on a lap. Down to the final few corners now is DTS. Green through Sector 1 and 2. About 1 tenth and a bit up. Down to the line, but doesn't improve at the line. Really bad Sector 3. 3 tenths slower in Sector 3 compared to his previous lap. So DTS will be disappointed with that. And he may not have enough time to get back out and do another lap. It will be very close for the Haas driver. So we'll keep an eye on that. Rick also is a man who needs a much better lap. Currently sitting P12, but way off the pace is the Dutchman. Thibaut into the pits. Avi is on a lap, but no faster than previous. Myra is on an out lap. Ayrton is coming out. So the two drivers on the front row are coming out for their final attempts in this session. Myra starts their final lap. So across the line, we're right on board with the Finn as they come through turn 1. That looked pretty smooth, but maybe could have been a bit more commitment through there. Now turns 2 and 3 on the curb for turn 3. Really good there from Myra. And that's 1 tenth faster through Sector 1 alone. What an effort this could be from Myra if they can manage to hold this all the way to the line. Getting a tow here from their rival for pole position. Ayrton just giving them a tow here. Is Ayrton going to get out of the way? Yes, at the line. So Ayrton really helping out his rival for pole position today, as Myra maybe a little bit deep there though into that left-hander. Didn't have the best line for the right-hander, but still should be fine. Coming to the end of Sector 2 now. We'll see how good this Sector 2 is. It is another 1/10 and a half faster for Myra, so this could be a huge improvement on what is already the provisional pole time. Down towards the final sector now. Final few corners. This has to be smooth for Myra. Don't spin it here. It's very easy to do. And don't go wide either. Had to lift off to not go wide. That's going to cost at least a 10th, I would have thought. Down towards the final corner. What's it going to be for the Alfa Romeo up to the line? It's a 24.1. Did lose time in the final sector, as I thought, but the first and second sectors more than made up for it. So it's all down to the championship leader to take that pole position off of the Finnish driver. Robine is also on a lap. I'll keep an eye on the sector times there. Amir is improving as well through sector 1. Down towards the end of sector 2 now. I am keeping an eye on Ayrton, but here comes Amir towards the end of this sector. 3.5 tenths up from Amir. That's really good from the Mercedes. Could see him up into the second row, maybe even third place, and knocking speed down to P4. I am keeping an eye on Ayrton. Ayrton is purple through sector 1, half a tenth better than previous effort. So Ayrton clearly had the best sector 1 beforehand, and now that seems much smoother than Myra, but again maybe a little bit tentative out of the right-hander. You can really get on the curb there on exit, so maybe Ayrton just didn't want to do that. Amir does improve to P4, but not enough to take speed spot. Sector 2 from Ayrton looked really good as well. Down towards the final sector. Can he take pole right at the death here? In towards the final few corners. Got to get this right, because Myra didn't get it right, and Ayrton has gotten that perfectly. And this time, he's got to get the final corner right. He really screwed it up last lap. That's perfect this time. This should be pole, I would think. Yes, by a mile. Much, much, much better lap from the championship leader. Purple in all sectors. And that is a dominant pole position in the end. I really thought Myra had it for a second. Rick also improves up to P8. That's much better from the Dutchman, but everyone else has finished their lap times. Traction is very hard. Yeah, speed, it really is on this track. It's absolutely horrible. Even on wheel, it's disgusting. I can't imagine what it's like on controller. Yeah, I wish you luck for the race. Yeah, a fairly close qualifying session if you discount the top two. Because look at this, 6 tenths between 9th and 3rd. Well, 9th and 4th rather. So very, very close in the midfield today. Hopefully that continues in the race, but that will be our qualifying session. Hopefully no more game crashes during the race, touch wood, we've had one already. I have a suspicion that I have solved the issue, by the way. That's why I took so long to come back. So we'll see if I'm actually right, or if I'm going to eat my words and disconnect again. But anyway, Ayrton takes pole position by a huge margin in the end, after it looked like a very close fight for the top step, the top position on the grid. Ayrton, in dominant fashion, takes it by 6 tenths from Myra, who lines up P2. Speed Alcoholic in P3, despite crashing, only setting 1 lap. So still a great effort there from the South African. Amir in P4, only a 10th down on that. Robine right behind it in P5. Look at all these times, how close they are. Avi, a couple of tenths back in P6. DTS in P7 with Rick in P8. And then Lostock and Thibaut make up the top 10. Good luck to Thibaut on what I believe is his debut in ESRL. Zuber in P11. Scott takes P12 on the grid, and then come the DNFs and DSQs. Ted with a DNF, of course, but Trugster, Aces, and Nath Clark, crucially Nath Clark, all disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane. So we will see how this manifests. Will Nath Clark charge his way through the grid? Remember last week he also started in pretty much dead last, and already charged his way up to 9th by the sort of halfway through lap 1 and then got caught up in an incident and went all the way to the back again. So we'll see if he can repeat that feat and this time not get caught up in an incident this time. We wait for the race to start. Anyone have any predictions? Anyone watching? We've got 4 people watching. Any predictions for the podium? Any shock DNFs? I wouldn't be surprised. This track is brutal. We've seen even Ayrton has spun in qualifying at that second left-hander in Sector 3, so anything could happen. I think broadcast formation lap is still on, so we will listen to the dulcet tones of Alex Jacques as he narrates the formation lap for me.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm. That may or may not play into some of the team's hands for today's race.
It looks like everyone has started on the mediums except Aces, who is starting on the hard tyres down there in P15. So we will see how that goes for him. Ayrton will definitely be hoping that Aces can charge his way up the grid today. Another good result for Ferrari would cement their Constructors' Championship lead at the moment. Mainly, pretty much by default. A lot of the drivers from other teams just making costly errors. And Ferrari, they have made errors, but they've either been lucky or they've made up for them in as the race has gone on. So we'll see how it goes today, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's a great start from a Mercedes further back. Good one from Ayrton as well. Myra can't get alongside at turn 1 and Ayrton takes the lead. Speed Alcoholic stays in P3. Amir is out of the session at turn 1. That is that a safety car already? No, it's a VSC early on in this race. So that gives me a chance to show all of the data here. Why have I still got this camera? What is going on? Please, Codemasters, please give me a different camera. I don't know what's happening there. But let's look at the starts. Nath Clark, he's done it again. He's up to P10 from the back of the grid, up 6 positions. Scott has let him by as well. Maybe an illegal overtake going on there. So Nath Clark up to P9 yet again for the 2nd week in a row. He is into the top 10 before we've even done 4 corners pretty much. So a fantastic start for our championship challenger. Ayrton is still in the lead from Myra. Speed Alcoholic a fair way back in P3. Avi with a good start as well up to P4, but it's a disastrous start for Amir at the back. Or rather, in the midfield. And now he is out of the race already. Disaster starts as well for Lostock and Tebow. The 2 Aston Martins really struggling off the line. And we'll see when the safety car comes back in. Oh no, am I going to have this camera for the whole race? Please, no. Please, Codemasters, don't give me this camera for the whole race. Oh no, I think it might just have to be onboards today, which is fine, but annoying. Maybe we're going to have this camera now? Maybe? I hope so. Left the session, hopefully he can get back in. But he is languishing at the back there in P14. And it looks like... Oh, it is a full safety car. Yeah, you were right, Lifebout. I didn't see it come out the pits. But, yeah, there is the safety car. So, a very early full safety car in this race. Let's switch to tyres. So, no one taking the plunge for an early stop. Probably a sensible decision. For everyone on the grid there. This safety car will save Aces, who should hopefully be able to get himself back in the session. My telemetry has broken again, so that is something I'm definitely going to have to bring up with the person who makes this software, because that is twice in 2 races now that it's just stopped working in the middle of the race. I think it might be the safety car actually, because there was a safety car. Actually no, because it went past the safety car, so I don't know. Anyways, I'll figure that out. The Monaco TV director took over. Hi Jack. He certainly did. But yeah, we're back now, thankfully, to normal cameras in the dynamic view. I was worried I would have to go on board for the whole race, but luckily we've been saved by Codemasters. Yeah, race neutralized. Safety car in this lap already. That's very early. I thought it would be out for another one. So Ayrton warms up the tyres and gets ready to restart this race. We're going to ride on board with Myra to see what happens at the restart. As Ayrton, when is he going to punch it? It's going to be out the final corner maybe? No, he's going to wait a bit longer, and there we go. He's completely caught out the Alfa Romeo, and Speed Alcoholic has a look, but can't overtake before the line, and that leaves Avi with a chance as well. Robinet's looking racy further back too in P5, but they all get through cleanly for now as they come through turns 2 and 3. Myra right on the back of Ayrton as they come towards the hairpin, but unable to make a move, I don't think. Yeah, no, too far back to make a move. Nearly goes into the back of the Ferrari, but luckily keeps it together. Rick up into P6 further back, battling with Ayrton DTS. They're still side by side along the straight. We've got to switch to Speed, who's gone side by side with Myra up the straight as Ayrton goes to the inside and lets them both through. What is happening there? I'm not sure, but Speed is now into the lead of the race down the inside of Myra and takes the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix as Ayrton down to P3. I'm not sure what happened to him. Maybe the game gave him an illegal overtake or something. I'm not sure. But they come through now towards this left-hander at the end of Sector 2. Avi and Robinet side by side as the Mercedes gets its way into P4. Good stuff from the Israeli as Nath Clark, the championship challenger, up to P7, battling with Rick again. These two crashed on lap 1 last week. There's a bit of contact again as Rick goes down the inside. He's not going to give this up, but Nath Clark has the better line and should have that position now up to P7, and he continues his charge from the back of the grid. Robinet right behind Avi as well, trying to stay with the top 3 as Speed Alcoholic sets the fastest lap, but I do think the top 3 are going to be in the league of their own today unless Nath Clark can catch back up to them, because I think Nath Clark should be similar to them on pace as Rick goes very deep into turn 1 and loses a bunch of time thanks to it. Avi already just over a second down on the top 3. It's very close, that gap. DRS not quite enabled yet. I think it will be next lap, but Avi trying desperately to stay within 1 second so he's not vulnerable to Robinet on the next lap. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1. That's Aces who's gone round on those hard tyres. Maybe not the right pick of tyre compound to start this race as he gets his car back going again, but a tricky start for him for sure. That's 2 spins in 3 racing laps really for him, and that's another one at the hairpin as Myra right behind, and Robinet as well, putting a huge amount of pressure on Avi as Ayrton DTS and Nath Clark go side by side. Nath Clark all the way around the outside. What a move from the championship challenger. Into P6 he goes. He is charging his way up, and Robinet and Avi surely will be easy pickings for him in the next, well, maybe even the next lap. DRS will be enabled and already making light work of that gap to DTS as well. We've got yellow flags in Sector 3. That looks like Ted has lost it at the same place that Ayrton lost it in qualifying. Nath Clark sets the fastest lap, unsurprisingly, on lap 4. DRS will now be enabled, so Speed Alcoholic will be vulnerable on the main straight. And Ayrton's losing a lot of time here. I don't know what has happened to the championship leader, but doesn't seem to be quite on the pace at the moment. Maybe just a slight dip in form and maybe a slight mistake to the start of this race, but we will see as Myra now opens the DRS. Is not going to be close enough to make a move this time around, but we've got yellow flags again. That's Ted going round once more. Nath Clark trying to get involved in this battle, but Robinet is the one trying to make a move. Nath Clark just happy to observe for now as Rick and Zuber go side by side there. Zuber trying to get the better exit and does get the better exit. Should make this move now. Should the Red Bull. I'm going to just switch to the top two. Is Myra close enough? Not quite. Is Robin close enough? No, not quite. Nath Clark sticking with them. Robin tries to go down the inside, but not to no avail there. As I said, there's so many different lines you can take around there, as Rick and Zuber still side by side. Zuber trying to get past the Alfa Romeo, but gonna have to stick in P9 there, with Scott was also eyeing up an opportunity when possible. Robin still on the back of Avi, and Nath Clark has lost a lot of time. What has happened to Nath Clark? A slight mistake from the Williams driver and a mistake also from DTS at the same time. So Nath Clark very lucky not to lose any positions from that error. But he's got to cut those kinds of errors out right now if he wants to charge his way into the top three. As they've already opened up a 1.2, 1.3 second gap to Avi, but it's not increasing by that much at the moment. Robin will be too far back to make a move, but what about Myra? Speed goes defensive. He knows this could be an opportunity for the Alfa Romeo, but there's just not enough speed on the straight. I think the Alpha Tauri is running a very low downforce setup here to make sure he doesn't get overtaken. It wouldn't surprise me. That would also explain his woes in qualifying. We've got yellow flags again. That's Ted going round once again. Is Myra going to make the move? Uses the ERS, but look at that. Look how much speed. Well, look how much speed that Speed has off the straight. But he makes a slight mistake there. A little bit of a correction, but not enough for Myra to make the move. Speed is only down to half ERS, so it's not like he's using all his battery either. There's not much downforce on that Alpha Tauri at all, and it's making him very difficult to overtake. But if Myra can get close enough, they should be able to make the move. Ayrton is just watching and waiting at the moment, not taking any risks, is the championship leader. He's learned from the first 3 races where it all went wrong for him. But a few safety cars got him back into it, and then a few good races have put him back in the championship lead. But talking of the championship lead, Nath Clark sets the fastest lap, so he's looking to get his way back into this after his error earlier on. Zuber getting past Rick. They're side by side through turn 2 and 3. Brilliant stuff from these two. They're still battling. Ayrton DTS trying to get his nose in as well. We've got to switch to the top 2 because Myra has the DRS. But again, look at the straight line speed. Myra not even gaining any time on the Alpha Tauri, and he's not using any ERS either. There's another spin further back for, I think that's maybe Scott. Yeah, I think that's Scott. So Scott struggling as well. Speed Alcoholic still holding off Myra, but Myra now under pressure from Ayrton, as there's a 3-second time penalty for Ted further back. But now Myra in the wheel tracks of the Alpha Tauri, but still not enough speed to make the move. As speed goes deep though, and this could open the door for Myra. They still by side, they just avoid touching. Ayrton has to just watch and wait and hope that something happens, but at the moment these two are locked together. But Myra just not having the straight line speed to easily make the move on the Alpha Tauri for now. But how quickly is that going to change, I wonder, as Nath Clark now in the wheel tracks, but makes another big error. I think it's at the same place as well. So he's going to have to get that time all the way back, but he is really struggling on this track to keep it mistake-free at the moment, especially in that final sector. So Nath Clark has really got to eliminate those mistakes to get himself in this race for the lead and maybe hope for a safety car. Now Myra right in the wheel tracks of speed once again. Gets a better exit, is closer than they've been on the other laps, but again it's just so much straight line speed for the man in P1. Ayrton now trying to make a move, a lot more ERS than the Finn just ahead of him, and he's taking full advantage of the fact that Myra can't get past speed, and this could be an opportunity now. He's using the ERS. Here comes the championship leader round the outside of Myra. They go side by side, but I think this should be easily done for Ayrton, and yeah, into P2 he goes. Nothing left for Myra to defend with, and they're just going to have to recharge the ERS and do what Ayrton's been doing the last few laps. Robin still right behind Avi. Nath Clark is back within a second of them again, but look at that, no battery left on that Williams. So he's going to struggle to make any moves at this point, and nearly goes for another spin. He's really struggling in that final sector. It's another mistake from him that cost him another few tenths, and Ayrton into the lead. When did that happen? At the final corner. That is a very unexpected overtake. So much so I wasn't even paying attention to it. Speed Alcoholic now down to P2, and the championship leader retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. But Speed, with that huge advantage in straight line speed, could he be able to make the move back on Ayrton on the next straight? Ayrton's got plenty of ERS to defend with, though, so it could be very difficult for the South African. In fact, loses a lot of time out that hairpin. But maybe it's just, I think it's just different lines, actually, that the two of them are taking. But look how much he's gaining on the straight. Speed Alcoholic, he's got so much straight line speed in the AlphaTauri, threatens to make a move. Tries to distract Ayrton into a mistake, but does not succeed in that. Ayrton stands firm, takes the racing line, and I think should be able to hold off this onslaught, at least for this lap. But I mean, look how much Speed is closing on the straights as Ayrton goes very deep. I think, again, just a different line through that corner. But if Speed can stick with the Ferrari through Sector 3, he's going to have a chance. But Sector 3, he's been very poor at, just because of that low downforce setup he's running as he goes through the curb now. And look, you can see already how much time he's losing to the Ferrari through that sector, and Myra is closed back up again. So Speed has got a lot of straight line speed, but sacrifices everything in that final sector. You could see how much he lost to the Ferrari, and again there as well. You've got more yellow flags, another spin for Aces. He is having a nightmare race, and Speed is in fact out of DRS range now. Gets back in it just about through turns 2 and 3, but he's definitely not going to be close enough to make a move on the championship leader on this lap, and he's got to make sure he stays with Ayrton as well. Anyone else close? DTS and Rick pretty close together. Nath Clark has caught back up once again, but look at that ERS. He's not going to be able to make a move anytime soon, that's for sure. Avi is nearly out of ERS, so Robinette is going to see that flashing red light pretty soon on the back of that Mercedes, and he's going to smell blood and know that Avi will be vulnerable. Myra still on the back of this train. Speed Alcoholic closing and closing on the straights. But 5 tenths is now the gap, and Speed is going to be in real danger of falling out of DRS on this lap now. 7 tenths, and yeah, I don't think Speed is going to hold this. Ayrton's got so much more pace through these corners. Speed has got to do the Sector 3 of his life to stay within a second. And I think he's done exactly that. Maybe a mistake from Ayrton, but it's a fantastic Sector 3 from Speed, despite his clearly lower downforce setup. And he is back in the wheel tracks of the Ferrari, so brilliant stuff from Speed to stay there. As Thibaut has gone for a spin further back. That's unfortunate for him. Who's that? That's Aces yet again, letting them through now through blue flag conditions. That is a humbling sight for the man who was challenging for a podium a couple of weeks ago. Speed Alcoholic again losing a lot of time there. There is the DRS detection point. He will have DRS. Again, takes a much different line than the Ferrari, so loses time coming into the corner, but gains it back as he goes on the exit. So it's really interesting actually on the reprofile corners, the different lines you can take, as Avi goes defensive for the first time against Robinette. There's no ERS left on that Mercedes, so here we go. He smells blood, does the AlphaTauri. Thibaut is retired on his debut. That's something very unfortunate to see, but here comes the Frenchman down the inside of the Mercedes. Easy move, no ERS on your wagon, and Robinette into P4. Very comfortably, and Nath Clark is going to look to follow the AlphaTauri through. Can he do it? Can he make the move into an unorthodox place? Not at the moment, as Speed stays with Ayrton again for another lap, at least for now. It's the last corner where Speed could lose a bunch more time. Let's keep an eye on that gap. 8 tenths. Oh, there's a mistake from Avi. No, he's into the pits. He's into the pits. What tyres is the Israeli going to put on, I wonder? As that promotes Nath Clark into P5 now. So Ayrton will see his championship rival in the top 5. And still a long way back from those top 3, but still decent a very, very decent first stint from Nath Clark. Avi out of the pits on hard tyres, so he'll be going to the end as Speed Alcoholic sticks with Ayrton for another lap. He has the DRS, and just look at this closing pace. Ayrton has recharged all of his ERS though, nearly up to 100% again already. Who is that spun? That is Zuber. That's a shame for him. Nath Clark into P4 down the inside of Robinet. They still battle though, and the AlphaTauri is going to have DRS on this next straight, so it's not over yet. Going to ride on board with the Frenchman as Nath Clark under pressure moves to the outside to try and squeeze Robinet out, but Robinet sticks to his guns and stays down round the outside as Nath Clark goes for a little bit of a half spin, manages to save the car, but again loses a bunch of time. Should be able to stay within DRS, I would have thought, but another big mistake from Nath Clark. I don't know how he hasn't put it in the wall yet, to be honest. All these errors have been very costly for him, and this is it. Speed Alcoholic is now out of the DRS of Ayrton, so it's crunch time for the Ferrari, and it's also crunch time for Myra. Robinet and Nath Clark also come in for the hard tyres, I assume, and they will be going to the end, but Myra needs a fantastic outlap here in order to jump, or to try and jump at least Speed. I think Ayrton might be a step too far, but Speed could be under pressure here, coming out the pits on the next lap, I assume. Promotes Rick up to P3. As Avi also up to P5 now. Back into his rightful position after pitting for those hards. And Robinet has come out just behind. So Avi actually getting that undercut to work. So that is crucial, to be honest, because Avi was quite far back and now is ahead of Myra. No, is ahead of Robinet, rather. Myra's warming up those tyres, but maybe not the best call, because Myra has to get this outlap absolutely spot on to get the undercut to work. It's worked for Avi, but Myra now in the wheel tracks of Rick doesn't get DRS. Would have been really hoping for DRS for that extra little boost down this straight. But, and maybe what cost them there was the weaving on the straight, still down the inside of their teammate. I think Rick just letting them through there, and now Speed into the pits. So we'll have to watch and see where the AlphaTauri comes out. Ayrton has stayed out though, so Ayrton's still very comfortable on those mediums, it seems, as Speed goes onto the new set of hard tyres. And where is Myra? Just coming around the final corner. This could be close, as Speed is coming to the end of the pit lane now, just coming round to the corner. We're right on board. Down that tricky corner in the pit lane. Myra's just coming through turn one. This is going to be very close. Speed coming out of the pit lane now, but I think Speed has got this place. And in fact, yeah, Myra, a really poor outlap from the Alfa Romeo. 2.1 seconds down on Speed. And it has not worked for the Finn like it worked for Avi. Zuber now into the pits as well for a fresh set of hards. Fastest lap at the moment belongs to Nath Clark with a 27.9. My telemetry is back somehow. But Ayrton's tyres are at 56%, 57%, so they are starting to die on that Ferrari, but clearly he's still fairly comfortable on them. Is that gap coming down for Speed Alcoholic? Not at the moment. 21.3, 21.5, so Speed struggling to maintain position as Ayrton dives into the pits now. Crosses the white line, but I'm sure it'll be fine. As he comes into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. Zuber with a time penalty for track limits as Speed comes around the final few corners. Where is Ayrton going to be? Ayrton just coming out of the pit lane now. Speed coming around the final corner. I think Ayrton should have this pretty comfortably. Speed coming down to turn one as just as Ayrton approaches this corner, and yeah, Ayrton should have this very comfortably, I think. The Ferrari is going to be out. No, it's actually going to be closer than I thought. I think Ayrton still has it. Yeah, there is the Ferrari. So Speed unable to get the undercut, but has gained a few tenths, so is back in DRS range. So could we see Speed mount a challenge for Ayrton, as Ayrton is going to have really cold tyres, so this could be crucial. Speed is going to have a run here on the Ferrari. Down the inside he goes. And he's going to make the move pretty simply because of that straight line speed advantage he's got down towards the chicane. Is Ayrton going to look to the inside, but no move made? And those cold, hard tyres make him really struggle on that opening lap, and Speed takes full advantage and takes the lead of this race as Rick and Avi now battling. Rick still hasn't come into the pits on those 14 lap old mediums. What is this percentage? 62%. He must be struggling, but he's gone back down the inside, around the outside rather, of Avi, and Nath Clark following him through. Up to P5 goes the Williams, and again he's battling with Rick. Robinet's trying to get involved. They're 3 wide at the left-hander as Rick keeps his position, but surely Nath Clark all the way around the outside, and he is up to P4. Brilliant racing between these 4 drivers as Rick now struggling to keep Robinet behind. Robinet all the way around the outside. There's a bit of contact, but Rick keeps it on the track. No, he doesn't. He's had a spin, just trying to get too much throttle there on the worn tyres, and has a spin, and surely he's going to be in the pits now. Just waited 1 lap too long there, or maybe it was a plan for Alfa Romeo for Rick to hold back Nath Clark, and he certainly did that. The championship challenger has lost a lot of time to the top 3, 7 seconds down, so he's going to have to put in one hell of a shift to get himself on the podium today. And Robinet is going to be trying to hunt him down as well, knowing that Nath Clark has been prone to mistakes in today's Grand Prix. Ayrton's lost a lot of time to Speed Alcoholic. 1.5 seconds is the gap as they come through. 1.4 now, 1.3, so it is coming back down. So maybe a small error from Ayrton to lose him a bunch of time on the AlphaTauri. Let's look at ERS. Speed Alcoholic on 20%, Ayrton on 70%, so a clear advantage for the Ferrari, but we know that Speed is a tough cookie on the straights today. Avi in the wheel tracks of Robinet. Trugster as well, trying to get his way past DTS after being disqualified from qualifying. He was looking really pacey in qualifying, was the Red Bull. I think he was P5 or something when he got disqualified, so there's definitely pace on that car. Speed Alcoholic sets the fastest lap at 27.5, unsurprising. Ayrton's previous lap was a 28.0, so yeah, really struggled on that previous lap. 9/10 slower in Sector 2, so yeah, there must have been a mistake from the Ferrari. But he's going to be back in the wheel tracks of the South African pretty soon. 14 laps to go in this race. We're just over halfway through. Aces his day just keeps on getting worse. I mean, that must be his 10th spin of the day, surely. He's just looking to get to the end now, just for those sweet points, and goes for another spin. Everyone scores points in ESRL, remember, so it's not just the top 10, so that's why he's still going. He wants to get those points for Ferrari. I believe it's 7 points for where he is right now, so that is quite important for their championship hopes, actually. But Aces will be wishing that there was less to go in this race, and in fact, I think he might be coming into the pits to retire. Maybe he's had enough. Oh yeah, speeding in the pit lane, that's a retirement. 100% he's coming in to retire. Yep, there we go. There is the retirement. So Ace is out of the race. No more points for Ferrari, so it's all on Ayrton to fly the flag, as it were. I'm just going to look at the championship standings, the constructors. So Ferrari are leading, I know that much. Speed is keeping Ayrton at bay. He's definitely got the pace on the Ferrari. As Nath Clark gets a time penalty for multiple warnings, so track limits as he struggles to try and fight his way up to the top 3, but that is going to really cost him come the end of this race, and it could even cost him the position to Robinet if the AlphaTauri can stay within 3 seconds, but based on their pace so far, I think that is unlikely, unless Nath Clark makes another trademark error, what is turning out to be a trademark error this race. For some reason Discord isn't working, so I can't look at the constructor standings, which is incredibly annoying. So hopefully that comes back soon. So I'm not sure how many points Ferrari are ahead. I really should know that, so apologies. But yeah, I know they're a fair bit ahead, but that retirement is going to cost them a fair few points. And AlphaTauri looking very good right now, running P1 and P5. So very good stuff from the drivers in the sort of, how do you describe that blue? Is it a blue? It is a blue. It's kind of a... Hello, I'm back. My controller disconnected. Oh, well, it ran out of battery. But we are back. Speed Alcoholic now. Ayrton really putting the pressure on a purple Sector 2 from the Ferrari and a purple Sector 1. So Ayrton wants to get back in the wheel tracks of Speed Alcoholic, but at the moment it's not happening. Sorry, a purple Sector 1 from Ayrton, not Sector 2. But at the moment, Speed is keeping the Ferrari at bay. One lap older hards, but I don't think that's going to matter towards the end. So that undercut really did work for Speed. It didn't work at all for the likes of Myra, but it worked perfectly for Speed. Myra 4 seconds back on these top two now, just running out of pace. And clearly needed the DRS to stay on board with those two, and as soon as that undercut didn't work, Myra was out of the race for the win. But still racing very strongly. Nathan Clark is catching, but not by much. Nathan Clark caught by 3/10 on the previous lap, so what's it going to be on this lap, I wonder? Keep an eye on the lap times. Myra coming across the line now with a 28.2. 290. Nathan Clark coming across the line, a 27.5, so that's much faster from Nathan Clark. 7/10 caught on that lap, but as we know, he has a 3-second time penalty for track limits, so that could really cost him. He's using all his ERS, which is, I mean, I'm not sure he knows that once it goes under 10%, you're not actually gaining anything. In fact, you're losing straight line speed once it goes under 10%, whether you use that overtake button or not. And a small mistake there at the hairpin, in fact, had to correct that one, and that's going to lose him a few more tenths as well. Yellow flags in Sector 2, I think that's Scott that's gone round. Yes, it is, unfortunately. But makes his way back on the track, hopefully not in the way of anyone. There's a Red Bull coming just behind him, but a long way back. Is that spin for Nathan Clark? Certainly looked like a big mistake. Yeah, it was. Lost another half a second. So struggling is Nathan Clark. I think at this point he's just got to accept P4. Now he's 3 seconds ahead of Robin A. He's got to think, right, just secure P4, secure the points. Hope that something happens to Ayrton so I can still gain points today. But yeah, he's after getting disqualified in qualifying, he was always going to be on the back foot, and he's made a fantastic recovery, but not enough to get in the podium, at least for now. Myra is catching these top two now. 3.9, 3.8 is very close. Caught them by half a second on the previous lap, in fact, but Ayrton caught Speed by 6/10 on the previous lap. So here comes the Ferrari now. Championship leader making a push for this race lead. Speed has barely any ERS left, 20%. Ayrton has nearly 80%. So a huge advantage for the Ferrari. But I think the straight line speed of the AlphaTauri is going to mean no opportunity for Ayrton, certainly into this corner, as he brakes very late, much later than Speed. Getting to a huge advantage, and Speed very deep on the right-hander, and this could open up the door for Ayrton, but he's not going to use the overtake button. He's just going to wait for that red flashing light on the back of the AlphaTauri that shows that he's out of battery, and then he's going to pounce. Then he will strike. We've got more yellow flags. I think that was Scott spinning again. Rick gets himself a time penalty as well, as Zuber now loses out to Scott. So maybe it was Zuber, not Scott. But it looks like Scott has gone again, unfortunately. So a bit of a nightmare Grand Prix for the McLaren driver. Ayrton still in the wheel tracks of Speed. We've got to keep an eye on Trugster as well. Now right behind Ayrton DTS. Is the move going to be made for the Red Bull? Here we go, round the outside, possibly for the Red Bull, trying to make a move, but no cigar there, actually. Ayrton DTS keeping him behind very well. And now here comes Ayrton, going to have the DRS again. Speed on 24%, Ayrton 86%, really saving that ERS well. Speed has to use a bit on this straight to defend, but not too much. He's got to save some in reserve, but now the pressure is on for the South African. Can he keep Ayrton behind? Again, much later braking from the Ferrari, and gets the perfect line out of the corner. That's really, really smooth from our championship leader and our reigning champion, and used a bit of ERS there, and now there's the flashing red light, so he's going to know that Speed is vulnerable. Speed defends to the inside, in fact. Ayrton nearly into the back of him, and loses a bit of time there as a result, but Ayrton now, he can see that red light, he knows that Speed is vulnerable. I think this move is going to be made on the next lap. Trogster still right in the wheel tracks of Ayrton DTS, as DTS goes very deep there, and this is going to open up the door, but DTS is going to have DRS from Scott. The lapped McLaren giving the Haas an advantage, and Trugster's going to be furious because he could have easily made the move here, but as it is, he's going to have to back out and concede the position again. He nearly tries to go down the inside. Another spin for Scott. He's having a nightmare day, similar to Ace's. But I'm sure we'll see him finish the race at least. Trugster. So Trugster unable to make that move thanks to the help from Scott for Ayrton DTS. Of course, not intentional help, just a bit of bad luck there for Trugster. But here comes Ayrton. Look at this pace. In fact, closes the DRS to make sure he doesn't overtake here, because he knows the better opportunity is here, because he has consistently better exits, but in fact loses to the rear a bit there. But in fact, I think Speed is not going to be able to defend this. No ERS left on that AlphaTauri. It doesn't matter how much straight line speed you have, but he's down the inside again, and what a move from the South African. Scott does in fact come into the pits to retire, just the same as Aces. So a bad day for him, unfortunately, but Speed, fantastic moves from him, and Ayrton makes a huge error there, nearly goes into the back of the AlphaTauri, and Ayrton feeling the pressure from Speed here. He's got plenty more ERS in the tank. Speed still with less than 10%, but there's 6 laps to go. That's how long that Ayrton has to get past this AlphaTauri. As Speed makes a big mistake out the final corner, so that's going to give more of an opportunity to Ayrton. That's a 3-second penalty to Nath Clark again, but he is now 6 seconds ahead of Robinette, so it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. There is Scott, and they've got to be careful not to hit the McLaren as he comes out the pits, or his AI rather comes out the pits. And yeah, they had to be very careful there. Great racing, guys. Hello, Box. Good to see you in the chat. It was fantastic racing. These two are going to be fighting to the bitter end, but I think Ayrton is going to have the move done pretty soon if he doesn't make another mistake. I think it could be this lap if he doesn't make a mistake here. No mistakes made. Speed with nothing left in the tank, but Ayrton doesn't make the move. He's not going to use the overtake. He's going to wait a little bit longer to make the move. And this is turning into a truly inspired defence from the South African at the front of this race to keep the championship leader at bay. I know for sure that Nath Clark is going to be cheering him on, but Speed wants his first win of the season. No problem, Box. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I really do appreciate it. But we are into the final 5 laps of this race. Ayrton right in the wheel tracks of Speed still, but the line that the South African is taking are absolutely pitch perfect. It's just the lack of downforce that's hurting him through the corners and giving Ayrton an advantage, but it's allowing him to defend from the championship leader on the straights. And now Ayrton presses the overtake button. He's going to make the move. There's a red light on the back of that AlphaTauri. Here comes the Ferrari round the outside before the corner. The move is made. Speed unable to defend this time, but he's going to have the DRS again into the next corner after this one. He's going to have the DRS now. He uses the overtake, but Ayrton's got plenty in the tank. And even with that low downforce setup, there's nothing that Speed can do here. Ayrton retakes the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and I would be surprised if Speed can take it back because there's nothing left in that battery. Shout out for Trugster, fellow Huddersfield driver. Shows how quick this field is when he's in 8th. Yeah, he is. To be fair, Trugster got disqualified from qualifying. I don't think it was any fault of his own. Yeah, he got disqualified for blocking the pit lane, so he had to start from the back. So he's done really well to recover all the way up to P8, but he's still locked in a battle with Ayrton DTS. I really thought he would have been past the Haas by now. As Rick gets himself... How many penalties does Rick have now? 12 seconds of penalties for the Alfa Romeo. As, yeah, now Speed is losing a huge amount of time to Ayrton. And that move is well and truly made. Nothing that Speed can do from this point onwards, I don't think, unless there is an uncharacteristic mistake from Ayrton. Although I say uncharacteristic, he's made plenty of mistakes this season. He's just been a bit... He just got really lucky with a few safety cars in those first 3 races. Yes, he fought back well, but if it weren't for those safety cars, he would have a lot fewer points in this championship right now. So he's not completely error-proof, is the Ferrari. But I think when he's in front, once he's gotten himself into the lead, and once he's built up a gap so he's not under pressure, I don't think the Dane is going to make any mistakes. So I'm going to switch off that battle for the lead because I don't think it's going to be a battle anymore, unfortunately. But I'm going to switch back to Trugster and Ayrton DTS. DTS with still plenty of ERS in the tank, which really surprises me. Trugster not pressing that overtake button, still waiting for the Haas to run out of ERS. He must be frustrated though, because that one time where DTS got the DRS from a lapped car, that was when Trugster was the closest he's been all race to making this move. And DTS got the DRS from a bit of a lucky break. So Trugster still right in the wheel tracks, but unable to make the move, and has a spin, just about keeps it out the wall. That's very, very well held by Trugster, but that is going to end that battle prematurely, and he is going to have to settle for P8 today. And in fact, that ends the only battle on track. So these last couple laps, last 3 laps, are just going to be fairly straightforward, as Zuber sets the fastest lap, but spins at the same time. I don't know how he's managed to set the fastest lap while also going into the wall, but that'll be an extra point for the Red Bull, I believe. As Ayrton starts lap 27, just further back. Zuber's got to let the leaders through. Nate Clark with a 10-second gap to Robinett now. And 2.8 to Myra. He's been catching slowly but surely. And he is, even without the penalties, he is going to run out of laps here. But if he didn't have the penalties and we had a few more laps, that could be an interesting battle for the podium. But I think Myra has got this in the bag, especially with those penalties. As Avi pits for softs, so going for fastest lap, has recognised that he has enough of a gap to DTS to make that stop and not lose any positions. And yeah, DTS just coming through the final corner now, so Avi should be comfortably in front. And is going to have one attempt at the extra point for fastest lap, which will be much to the dismay of Zuber, who will be delighted, I'm sure, that he's got the fastest lap, but I think Avi will be able to take it. He's a very, very fast driver in the Mercedes. Rick has left the session. Oh no! What has happened to the Dutchman? I think it looks like his game has crashed by by his remarks in the chat. So no fastest lap battle for him, unfortunately. So I think Avi will be able to take it. We'll keep an eye on the Mercedes as Ayrton starts the final lap of 29 here in Abu Dhabi. It's been a very good fight back from the back of the grid from Nath Clark, but he's still going to lose a huge amount of points to Ayrton again today, and that 14-point gap in the championship is going to widen. Is Discord working yet? That's going to be a no, so I still can't look at the standings. But yeah, Nath Clark is going to be irritated that he's lost yet more points to Ayrton today. He's definitely had the pace. I think on balance he's been faster than Ayrton today. So if he had been able to put in a qualifying lap, he would have had a real shot at pole, and he certainly would have been in a fantastic position to win this race. But that disqualification in qualifying really costing him today. As Ayrton now comes through the final few corners. It's been another brilliant drive by the reigning champion and championship leader. He will extend his lead. A little slide at the final corner for good measure, but Ayrton wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Speed Alcoholic comes home a very respectable second place, but he will be disappointed to not win this race. Myra in P3. Nath Clark spins over the line for P4, and Robinay is going to come across about 15 seconds later for another really respectable top 5 finish, and getting some very good points for AlphaTauri in their push for the constructors, possibly. Avi will finish P6, but will he set the fastest lap? I can't see my telemetry, it's gone off again, but Avi coming through the final corner now. Fastest lap, I'm not sure what it is, but Avi takes it at 26.4. Very good from the Mercedes. He will get that extra point. Ayrton DTS in P7. Trugster has to settle for P8 in the end, but will be disappointed that he couldn't get past the Haas, and will certainly be disappointed with that mistake as Lostock comes home to take P9 and finish us off for today. I believe we've had 6 races now, and there have been 3 wins for Nath Clark and 3 wins for NER Ayrton. So very close. Well, very close in terms of race wins, but in terms of championship points, Nath Clark has had definitely the worst run of luck in these last 3 races, and Ayrton, despite his slew of errors in the first part of this season, got the luck that he needed with the safety cars and managed to fight his way back very well. But sometimes to win Formula 1 World Championships, you do need a bit of luck. And Ayrton looking for his second ESRL Championship this season. Takes a commanding lead of the drivers' standings over Nath Clark. He will be hoping his good form continues. Remember, he won the first sort of 7 races. Okay.